Now, last week, I attended the Minion for a remarkable young man. Hundreds came to celebrate the life of Josh Ferenbach and wish a long life to his family. Josh was just 32 years of age, and he lived at Manders Villas, which is a Jewish care facility housing people with disabilities. And after davening, Mincha, the rabbi, invited people to speak about Josh, and we learned how many lives this remarkable, smiling young man touched. The Ajax Football Club and, a junior team's worth of representatives were there, people from Access, fellow residents, his involvement in stage productions as a stagehand, his drumming prowess, his work in the gym, how he just 2 weeks prior had shown Prime Minister ScoMo how to make a coffee. People couldn't stop talking about this, his infectious smile, his good humour and his jokes. He was an amazing man. Personally, I remember Josh when he and his family were involved at Brighton Shul, and he took his smile around the shul to everyone. He helped make it such a friendly place. So this morning, I'd like to share some of that sense of warmth and to find out a little bit more about Manders Villas. So I have with me from Jewish Care, I have Steve Lowe. Good morning, Steve.
Morning, Gary.
I have Tamara Henschel, who is a resident at Manders Villas. Good morning.
Gary.
And I have Matani Rubenstein, who is from Zooz, and we'll find out what Zooz is, but Zooz brings Shabbat services to Manders Villas on occasions too. So good morning to you.
Good morning, Gary.
So let's hear a little bit more about what Manders Villas is all about, because I was quite unaware. I'm sure some people know more than I do, but I'm sure a lot of us don't. What is Manders Villas? How did it come about?
Manders came about because members of the community wanted to ensure that there was some safe and secure and inclusive accommodation options for people who live with a more mild disability, so did not need full supported style accommodation, but could live independently, but needed some security around that. So there was a group formed, I think, in 2008 or 9, and then the group obviously worked in partnership with Jewish Care.
Right.
Designed the model, had lots of community consultations, looked at the different styles of things we could do, found the land, because we'd been on the land previously also, I think, with the respite house.
Okay, right. So there was a facility already there in some sense.
I believe so, but there's probably some people yelling at me that I'm wrong on if I am.
Okay.
What we do know is that Manders Villas, as it now looks, opened on the 10th of February in 2010.
Right.
So Manders Villas is a couple of things. It's, first of all, safe and secure housing for people that live independently but have a disability.
Yeah.
And that's part of of Manders Villas. Is basically there are 5 villas with 4 people in each villa.
Right.
Sometimes I say 4 villas with 5, but it's 5 villas.
Right. 5 villas with 4
people at each villa.
Okay.
And everyone has their own bedroom and small living area and bathroom, and then there's a shared kitchen and laundry. And then each villa has either a bit of a patio or a garden, and it's right in the middle of the community.
So it's up to 20 people there.
Yep, up to 20 people in there. And then the second part of
and they live reasonably independently in these villas.
Yeah, so people, there's different levels, and people's needs change, obviously, as their lives change.
Yeah.
But most people will have a few hours a day or a week of support that might help them with a bit of shopping or cooking or cleaning. But we have people that live at Manders Villas that have jobs, such as Josh had a job.
Yep.
Other people that study, other people that do a lot of volunteering. I'll let Tamara talk about what she does during her days and what she does for work. So it's a fairly wide range of people, and we have a couple of other people that might need a little bit more support, but people will often have a light touch of support to help them organise things, whether it's cleaning or shopping or getting to places. And that's individualised to the person rather than owned by the villa. It's not owned by the villa or Jewish Care, it's owned by the person.
Right.
The second part of Manders Villas was firstly my office, which is great because it's a really vibrant place to work. and we have a community hub. And the community hub has a couple of purposes. Jewish Care certainly use it for a bit of staff training. We use it for all sorts of events at Manders Villas, whether it be Hanukkah or birthdays or just getting together and watching the grand final on the big TV. So there's a really fantastic asset within the Manders Villas, which is the hub.
Which is fantastic.
And we certainly encourage the wider community to use this space as well.
So, Tamara, tell us a bit about actually being there. What's it like?
Well, it's...
I mean, I saw that communal area when it was absolutely jam-packed.
We've got 5 units on the block. And, it's home. In the beginning, it was very daunting to think of moving out of home.
Yes.
But I've lived there now for 7 years.
Right.
And it's home. We can come and go as we want.
Right.
It's just a nice place to be.
That's wonderful. And what do you do there during the day, or what's your working life?
I'm always looking for stuff to do.
Yeah.
I do disability awareness at schools, working for Glenara City Council.
Right. Okay.
I also work at Access Bakery on a Monday morning as a volunteer.
Right.
And I'm always looking for stuff to do, always knocking on the office door saying, I'm bored, give me something to do. And I just am always eager to do stuff. I've got more time on my hands than I know what to do with.
You do? Well, I'm sure there are lots of things to do in the community, which is a great thing about the Jewish community. In the few weeks leading up to Mitzvah Day, which was a couple of weeks ago now, on this show, we looked at quite a few of the voluntary charities that are working in the community, and there is so much going on. It's very heartening, actually. So tell us, Matani, a little bit about Zooz and what Zooz does. I'd never heard of Zooz either, so it shows my ignorance, maybe.
Sure. Zooz is essentially a platform for Jewish youth and uni age and above to come together and essentially embrace Jewish culture, spirituality, religiosity, as well as discuss intellectual ideas, talk about politics, and essentially we just run programs for one another on a weekly basis, as well as a Friday night minyan starting at 6 p.m. usually.
Okay. All welcome.
All welcome. And it's been great. And then also branching out and doing other things around the community, as well as occasional Saturday morning services and Chagim services. So for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, we get hundreds of people coming through the hub, coming to do Ne'ilah or other parts of the service throughout both Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah.
Fantastic. Tamara, I wanted to ask you a little bit too about your memories of Josh too, because obviously you were residents there together, and he must have been a real live wire around the place, knowing Josh.
He was amazing. He was a lot taller than I was, so I was always looking up to him like this. And he had one hat that he used to wear all the time, security. So I used to call him Mr. Security. And he was just an amazing, friendly guy.
Yes, he was, and you could feel that warmth around the room.
Yeah, he was just
at
always,
the minyan. It was amazing.
Always on the go, and that line of people was just out the door. It was like, wow.
It was. There must have been 300 people crammed in there.
Easy, and it just shows that, life is short, and I guess he lived it to the best of everything. He did,
even teaching the Prime Minister how to make a coffee. How did that come about, by the way?
He was just always on the go, and it was like, hey, Josh. I just used to say, hey, Mr. Security, because that was his favourite hat. All I can see is Josh with Mr. Security. He never used to go anywhere without that hat.
Yeah. So Josh had been there also for quite a number of years as well, after having lived at home. And he, what roles did he play? Do you know what his work was? I'm not sure exactly. I know he was involved in hospitality, and he obviously came to make show the Prime Minister how to make a coffee.
Josh had more than one role in our community. He certainly had a paid role, had a part-time job. He, as you said, was assistant coach for an Ajax footy team.
Oh, yes, he was. Yes.
His acting with Access and the coffee, he was a very keen participant at the Access programs. How Access or indeed Beth Wiseman happened to have Scott Morrison in their building after a coffee, Gary, you'll need to ask them. However,
pretty good scoop.
It was fantastic. I think it was just wonderful when I saw that vision. And Josh and his dad, just after that, they came in and, of course, had their own vision on their phone. And to have Josh saying, hey, look, here's me giving the Prime Minister a coffee was a real buzz. I think we got a bigger buzz than the Prime Minister did from the caffeine, to be honest. But so at around with Manders, Josh was often quite a social glue because it is very, very hard to feel glum with Josh in a room.
It was.
It's probably impossible to feel glum with Josh in a room. He was always there in a party and would jump in. He would usually have a few jokes and just encourage the rest of us.
Yeah.
One of the things Josh did so well was he encouraged the rest of us to seize the moment because that's what he was good at. He was always one of the best fancy dresses at Purim.
Yeah, I think he had so many costumes. He had Superman, he had Spider-Man. I just recall Josh, he must have had a cupboard dedicated to Purim fancy dress.
Wow.
Because there was never a second time he wore the same fancy dress.
Yeah. I can remember when he was at Brighton Shore and he used to just walk around and say good Shabbos to everybody. Just shake their hand, say hi, a big smile, how you going, all that sort of stuff. So, and we wish long life to his family. How did Manders Villas actually come about? What's the genesis of it? Why?
Well, as I said before, it was that community consultation, and as is the case often with extra services for people who live with disability, it comes from either them or their families. So without families advocating for their loved ones with a disability, and then organisations such as Jewish Care responding and nurturing and supporting that, you don't get too much on the ground. So the genesis was there was a community need there, the community got together for the need, and Jewish Care then also came on board and said, well, yes, we'd love to be part of that. The couple of the interesting things about Manders is, of course, it is secure long-term housing. So we'll often get inquiries, but as we said before, Gary, there is
probably more demand than there is.
Well, with the 5 villas, and you want to make sure you get your tenant matching quite closely because living in a share house long term takes a lot of skill and a lot of patience.
It does. Do you get on with everybody there?
Different times, we all have our moments. They're good times, they're bad times, but you roll with the punches. So
you have to, like any other share house. I'm sure it's a bit of a challenge.
When we want our own space, we've got our own room.
Yeah.
So it's good.
That's excellent.
It's good.
Excellent. Now, a little bit more about Zooz. So, what, you bring a rabbi along on a Friday night there to conduct the service, or it's done lay, or how's it done?
So the service is run primarily by us, the youth.
Good.
Occasionally we'll have rabbis drop in,
Yeah.
Check it out, and make sure, I guess, not even make sure that we're all doing it right. We know what we're doing, but yeah, we get people from all over the community, and being in...
so a whole lot of people drop in, not just the residents.
Yeah, not just the residents. And being at the hub, we can engage everyone from all aspects of the community. You know, it really is open to everybody, especially the residents at Manders Villas.
Yeah.
And we get people from all walks of life. There's never a week where I walk in there and I know every single person.
Right.
And it's amazing to think that somebody who I've never seen before in my whole life, who's still a part of the Jewish community, has heard about the Zooz Minyan and comes and engages with us, and we welcome everybody to come in, and it really is awesome.
That's fantastic. Now, on Jewish Care in a broader sense, I actually drove up Punt Road the other day, and I see this massive building going on at St Kilda Road there. What's happening there?
Putting in the backyard pool, Gary.
It looks like it's going to be a massive pool.
Heated and everything. Look, it's very, very exciting.
It is.
It's certainly a long-term project. Jewish Care, certainly if you start at Manders, I mean, has a really good record now of investing in capital and assets for our community, so which is what Manders was. And then a few years ago, the Copland-Pekarsky Family Disability Respite Centre was a significant capital renovation for people with disabilities. So I certainly know more about Manders and Copland-Pekarsky, and less about some of the amazing capital assets that we are building for members of our community who may be frail or ageing. So the large works you'll see at Punt Road are, and there's a couple of stages. The first stage is a refurbishment and rebuild for aged care living facilities, and then stage 2 is going to be a more independent living sort of complex for our frail and aged community members. So it's an incredibly exciting project that does have a number of years, I think, to go.
Yes, it looks like it's massive. It's going to take a while. But
it's so exciting that we're out of the ground now.
Yeah.
So you can actually now see something coming out of the ground. The basement's done, the foundation's there, and I think, again, it's around Jewish Care, as we did at Manders and as we did with Copland-Pekarsky, joining our community members and joining with philanthropists and community members also that want to give back and saying, hey, this is what we can do together for our community. And I think that it's a really good progression to look at Manders and Copland-Pekarsky and then look at what we're doing at Punt Road in seeing that track record of continual partnership with our community.
And the need is building.
Absolutely.
We're an ageing community, so especially people like me. But so back to Manders. Where did the name Manders come from?
The significant donors were Richard and Marietta Manders.
Right. Okay.
Such as the significant donors for Copland-Pekarsky Disability Respite Centre. So, in essence, the Manders family backed the community needs. So when people said we'd really like some secure housing and a bit of a community hub for people with multiple disabilities, the Manders family and Jewish Care backed that, and so Manders Villas is in commemoration of Richard and Marietta Manders.
Right, okay.
When I moved in the beginning, it was called Glenara Villas.
Right.
And then when it got renamed the Marietta and Richard.
Yep, Manders, yeah.
So it got renamed when we got that
when that bequest was made,
that incredible donation.
Well, I think it's a wonderful centre. I think it's a terrific place to help integrate people into Jewish life in our community, and I think that's fantastic. I think Zooz does a great job by taking Shabbat there too every week. I think that's fantastic, and bringing students and members and local people around as well. I think it's a wonderful facility. As I said, I was very touched by it. I was really blown away by attending there. I think it's just remarkable, some of the tremendous things we do in this community. So thank you all for coming in today. It's great to shine a little bit of light on what was happening there.